Today is either day 7 or 8. I started with him being tied up a little bit. I'll add a clip of that in here, just kind of moving his hip around some and letting him stand when we worked a couple of the other horses. Not too much to it. He's not super big on like pulling back or freaking out, so just leaving him there. He needs a lot of patience, so he's going to be getting some good tying sessions in the near future. Pretty much every day I'll tie him up, usually after I work him, but that'll start soon and he'll be tied up for anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Good boy. So he's worn this surcingle before, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can girth it up. And I think he really needs his teeth done. He's got a dentist appointment scheduled for about a week and a half from now. And I do want to check the tightness here and make sure I get it tight enough, because I am going to potentially put the saddle on him today if he does well with the long lining. And just like we were talking about before, it's not my biggest concern yet since it's only his 3rd time with the girth pressure. If he's backing up when I'm putting this girth on, I'll move with him. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it quite yet. I want to focus on that forward momentum with him and keeping his feet fluid going forward so that when I put that saddle on him, he also is thinking forward. Last thing I want is one that's kind of sucked back and thinking about going up. He also might be a little more energetic, so I'll probably push him into the trot a couple times here just because he has been tied up and been a little bit irritated and impatient with that process. So I'll let him move his feet a little bit more. And I'll practice the same thing I was doing yesterday when I was talking about making that circle a little bigger in some areas. That comes from me moving into him with that energy. If there's an area he's a little stuck in and he kind of has a pattern of getting stuck there, a few feet before he gets in that area, I'll add some energy from the flag. Like right over here, there's a buddy. So I usually add some energy right before we get to that section. Good boy. Good, and I really like that he's starting to slow down and think about going into the walk first. He doesn't just shoot off right into that trot. Because again, when I'm on him, I might have a ground person in there yet. I haven't quite decided for him. But if I have that ground person in there, I don't want him to immediately go into a trot the first time that I'm wanting to move on him. Get it out, buddy. He started to dig so much in that area that he dug up a tarp that I didn't even know was there. So he was kicking up a decent amount of dirt in that process. Good. Very good. Yeah, I think that's just your really nasty chewing with your really bad teeth. We'll get them fixed. Okay. I'm gonna chuck the other long line on him now. We did this once, I think it was on day 6 or so. And that's when I got rained out, so you guys didn't get to see the full session. I had to turn the camera off. Toss that rope up and over the butt. And I've only done this with him the one time, so he's thinking back up right now, but I have the pressure just on my right line. So I'm gonna hold here and add a little bit of energy until I get him to move that way. So it might come from me clucking, making a verbal cue. I might hold a stick, I might go, boy, use my line to tap his side. Whatever I can do to get him moving forward here. And I'm not super strict right now on the direction, just as long as he's going forward, I can work with that momentum any direction that we're going. There we go. So I just have to make sure with every direction change that I do, that I'm quick to release the section that he is softening into. I feel like this guy specifically is going to have a big problem with turning and moving off of that pressure on his face when I'm on him. He's kind of wanted to put up a little bit of a fight with that since day one. Good boy. So I think a bunch of long lining is going to help him with that, and getting his teeth done and his mouth looked at. I just had a friend who has a Mustang for a competition right now, and that one ended up having a mouth problem so bad that it actually needed a tooth extracted. So hopefully that's not our case, but it definitely can happen with these Mustangs where they need a little bit more dental care. Good boy. Okay, when I get a chance, I'm going to ask him for a halt. Right back here, pick up pressure even on both lines, release when he stands still. See if I can get a couple backup steps now. So again, pressure on both lines. If he backs up, I release. Right now, he's trying to go from side to side, so I just kind of patiently wait and make sure that I'm even in my pressure on the lines. Good boy. Ask him to go forward, and I want him to take off to the right, so I add just a little bit of feel in that right line. The second he moves forward, I put slack in both lines. Good boy. I'm gonna ask him for another halt this direction. Good, and if he's fighting it, I do the best I can to stay still. The second he softens, I'll soften with my line. And I'm pretty strict on making sure he doesn't just walk off unless I'm asking him to. So I stay, again, in place the best I can. And as soon as he softens, I soften to him. Because I don't want him to think when he's fighting and he keeps his feet still that I'm going to be on his face. I want to give him a chance to get that release. Now we're going to walk off to the left. Go. Good, and another halt. Oh, he did that on his own. I'm not going to take that one. Remember, the goal of this is that he really is understanding the pressure and how to give to it. So I want to make sure it comes from me asking him to stop. Good boy. Good. And who? Good. When he stops, and he's pretty soft, I'm going to walk up to his face and take the lines off. So saddle pads should go on pretty easily. I'll chuck that up there, walk him around a step or two. So this goes back to me wanting to break everything up as small as possible between the feeling of something being on him, the girth pressure, the weight of something being on him. So I'll kind of pick it up and mimic it going over him a couple times. Good boy. And I do my first saddlings English because I'm a wuss and I honestly don't want to pick up a Western saddle that many times. Sometimes you've got a horse that moves around quite a bit. And that to me is not fun to be moving with a super heavy saddle in your hand that much. Good boy. What are your thoughts on it? Do we like it? I also put a saddle on for the first time where I don't really care if it comes off of them. Like if during the girthing process, before the girth is totally on, they're like, heck no. And they move away from me and it comes off. That's fine if it hits the dirt. So here, if he wants to move a little bit, I'm not going to totally shut it down. I'm going to let him move till he feels comfortable. Reposition the saddle again. He kind of seems like a horse that does not have much withers. So we'll see how this stays placed on him. There's a lot of different desensitizing you can do with the saddle itself once it's up there. I like to do the desensitizing above them while they're in motion, like we've been talking about the past couple of days. Slapping of the stirrups, patting on the saddle, that noise always freaks him out. I'll also put my pillows on the saddle. If you've watched some of my videos, you might have seen them before. I like those for kind of the sight aspect of desensitizing. So something new that got added aside from the saddle itself is the sound of the stirrups kind of clanking on the metal on the girth. So that's new for him to have to deal with in motion. He's heard the metal from the surcingle before when it's gone on him, but not so much when he's moving with it. Good, so you guys kind of know the drill. I'll push him through, walk, trot, canter. The canter doesn't have to be a lot, it just has to be a couple strides. I like them to feel the equipment that's on them through all three gates the first time that it gets put on. Good boy. One more canter on this side. Good, and I'm not worried about leads right now. Not worried if he's crossfiring, if he's on the entire wrong lead. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good. Hi. That's right. Good boy. Okay, do a little bit of that desensitizing above while he's walking. So now this is tricky because I've never been sending him around for and immediately asked him to go into desensitizing mode. I like to have them flip back and forth pretty often, but it is difficult early on for them to see the difference between the energy and no energy. Good boy. He's doing pretty well with that. He's starting to understand the body positions of where my body is and what that means in relation to the energy. Good boy. Okay, let's try our other side. Really good, buddy. I think tomorrow with these guys is going to be tarp day. And maybe I'll also sit on him with tack. I don't know, I'd like to do a little bit more with the softness of his face and nose, tarp work, and a little bit more tying work. I'll do a little bit of desensitizing with the saddle right now because that one he might not love. So I stay pretty close to him, and I'm gonna try not to stop his movement unless he starts to really bolt off. But what I'm looking for is him to offer on his own standing still. And when he offers that, I wanna try to just pat a couple more times. Good, and release. So at first I'm looking for the feet to stay still, and then I wait to release until there's relaxation. Good, so I'll do one more reward for the feet staying still. Yeah, you itchy. And now I'm gonna look for some form of relaxation from him. If they can't get there yet on their own, I can try to help them with the lead rope, do a pull release, just so that they can soften that neck up, but I'll wait a little bit longer. Good boy. I like that he got a little bit out of freeze zone there and kind of unstuck, but wasn't fully relaxed. There's the eye, okay. Good boy, walk him up and do that side one more time, and then we'll switch sides. So he's starting to troubleshoot a little bit quicker now. You saw the first time I did this, he was like, oh, we're walking forward. Maybe like we're desensitizing in motion, or like she's asking me to walk forward and move off. Good boy. And now he's starting to be like, okay, that wasn't the answer because it's still going on. So what else can I do to try to get the padding to stop and find that release and find that reward? Good boy. Poor boy. Yeah, those teeth need done. Good. Good boy. And I'll wait to do the slapping of the stirrups till next time. He needs a little bit more work with the padding on it too, so that'll also be next time he gets saddled. But I'm just gonna do 2 more quick things to end him off right now. I'm gonna pick up those front feet since I didn't do that yesterday, and I wanna make sure he kind of stays up to date with that and stays good with doing it. And then I'm gonna bring the block out and sit on him again. If they're nervous about tack, after I pull it off, I'll usually take my saddle pad and chuck that back up there on them. Because some of them can get a little bit goosey with it being removed. When they're still in the process of learning, it doesn't stay on them permanently. Good boy. To bring a hoof pick out here with me tomorrow. Good boy. Good boy. So I'm trying to make that a little bit more fluid too, without all of the prep work of leaning over him, putting my weight over him, having to hug and reach around him. Yesterday, not filming it, but we worked on, didn't really work on it. I just sat up here for long enough that he got bored and started to wander around. But yeah, but that is the end of his session today. So thank you guys for tuning in, and tomorrow you'll get to see working with the tarp, a little bit more tying work, and maybe some more work with the saddle.